enough about you to make sure that you also are getting empowering information that just arms you with a toolbox full of tools and information to help you help yourself, your family, your community, so that all together we can reach the world. So this program is not meant to take the place of your primary care physician. It is not, it is for nutritional information only on the importance, or educational information only on the importance of nutrition. And when you give your body what it actually desires, you can go from just barely surviving to thriving. Just the way the body's designed, folks. We're continually making cells. So if you've got garbage going in, the cells are going to give you garbage going out. But if you have the nutrition and a solid foundation of what the body needs in a form that the body can actually absorb, utilize with the cofactors that each nutrient needs in order to be fully utilized within the body can do some amazing things. And to guide us on this journey, we have a young man who has been researching and trying to figure out nutrition and the cause and effects of things for over 7 decades. Yes, over 7 decades. He has been observant to the things that are going on around him and in him. And that's what we need to do as well. But he takes all of the work out of it because he's already done the research. He's already gotten 3 postdoctorates in pathology. So for those of you who don't know what pathology is, he does all those autopsies to try to figure out what, when, where, and why when it comes to death and the human body. And before doing the human body, he was actually working on animals. And as a doctor of veterinary medicine, you know, his patients couldn't tell him what was going on. He had to be observant and have that intuition as to, okay, these symptoms can be, a red warning lights for these different conditions. And these different conditions, when doing those autopsies, I found that there was this other condition going on that was caused by all these underlying deficiencies of nutrients because they were low or not existent. And he put all those pieces together. He connected the dots for us. And he's got 23 books that he has published, almost 100 peer-reviewed studies that have been published that you can find on his website, where he also sells the books at drjwallach.com. So without further ado, I would like to have this young man join me here on the screen. So I'm going to add you, Dr. Wallach, Dr. Joel Wallach, Bachelor of Science in Agriculture, Doctor of Veterinary Medicine, 3 postdoctorates in pathology, and to round it all off, naturopathic physician, where he can actually treat humans. He may treat us like dogs, but we do get better. So welcome, Dr. Wallach.
Thank you, Rebecca, and thank you, team. And we want to welcome our new team member, AJ. Okay, thank you for being with us and helping us with the technology and so forth. But I'm excited every day. I get excited every day, Becca, because I see around the world, you know, right now we're in 80 countries. We're working on a program. I'm supposed to meet with these people again on this weekend, coming up weekend, to add 38 to 70, depending on whose numbers you're looking at, 38 to 70 more countries. So I'm very excited about this because what people in China require for a long, healthy life, the people in Japan require. The people in Japan require the same thing the people in England require. The people in England require the same thing the Germans require. The Germans require the same thing the Canadians require. The Canadians require the same thing we require. And again, dogs require all this stuff too. So if I treat you like a dog, you're going to get better. Okay, you said it very nicely. And that was one of my things when when people say, well, you're a veterinarian, why should I come to you? And I said, well, I'm going to treat you like a dog, but you're going to get better. Okay. Because I wanted people to know I wasn't pretending to be a physician until I became a physician. Now I can be a physician and I'll pretend I'm a veterinarian. Okay. But the whole idea here is totally I've done 32,000 autopsies. My thesis is in the Smithsonian Institute as a national treasure. I'm not saying that to brag, but I'm saying that to say that somebody up there who's in a position of authority when it comes to information and facts and the truth of science saw what I had done and took my thesis on, it was 20,000 autopsies, was a thesis, 32,000 autopsies total, but the thesis is 20,000 autopsies, and put it into a book. Okay, and the book is in the Smithsonian Institute National Treasure. Okay, and it's called Diseases of Exotic Animals because it went into 640 species. Okay, I was so proud of that. And you know, I don't know where to start, but I'm going to start because one of the things we want to talk about. We talked yesterday about blood pressure and all that kind of stuff, and blood clots and so on. And that's just a symptom of a nutritional deficiency. Okay, it's not a genetic thing. Okay, it's a nutritional deficiency resulting in those diseases and potentially death. And so when you look at the Bible, let's go back farther. Let's look at the Bible. Let's go back when the Bible was first conceived and written. That was what, thousands of years of collecting information on human life. Thousands of years were collected on that before the Bible was conceived. Okay, and so I just said, okay, so where is the dividing line? Where is the theory and the dreams and the misinformation interact with the truth and gravity and all this kind of stuff? And so it's one of those things where the thing that really got me excited was everybody knows about the whole issue in the Bible, okay, of the land flowing with milk and honey. This was the promised land. This was the place that God loved and put together, and people were good. They got to go there. Okay, the land flowing with milk and honey. Okay, and so was this cow's milk? Was this goat's milk? Was this camel milk? Was it llama milk? No, it turns out after years and years and years of study and adventures in the wild and so forth, it turns out that this milk is not cow's milk, goat's milk, camel's milk, llama milk. It's glacial milk. Chapter 10 of the book, Rare Earth Bin Cures. Okay, that's the title of the chapter. Okay, chapter 10 is glacial milk. And when you look at the places where people live a long time, they all have mountainous territory. They all have glaciers, and the glaciers are grinding up the mountains, way up above the level where it's warm. Okay, they have all this ice and snow and frozen water and everything. And the glaciers are grinding up the rocks in the mountains, and the rock dust turns the streams and the creeks and so forth running down the sides of the mountains white. It looks like milk. And so they call it the land flowing with milk and honey, because they didn't have the chemistry back 3,000, 5,000, 8,000 years ago. But they knew it looked like milk, and it didn't have any bad taste or anything. Sometimes it was a little bitter, but or vinegary, but basically it was drinkable. Well, now in all countries in the world, they have water treatment centers, and they take everything out of the water except water. It's just H2O, and you don't get the stuff to turn the creeks white like milk, okay, which was the ground up rocks, the rock silt, and okay. And so we spent, I don't know, 6 months when we started Longevity. We spent 6 months running around looking for where we could get something different when it came to the minerals in our stuff, our programs, as opposed to everybody else just grinding up limestone and putting in 6, 8, 10 different minerals, and like zinc and copper and let's see here, calcium and phosphorus and magnesium, and that was about it. Okay, well, we're looking at 75 minerals in our supplements. Every program we have has a minimum of 75 minerals in it, 75 different minerals in it. And that's why we have so many people who have such great longevity. Okay. And we're looking for people to be like the Hunzas and live to be 200, 120, okay, 140, 150. And in the Old Testament, God's words were, in man's years shall be 120. Okay, but we're missing it. Right now in America, we've said this many times, emergency room doctors is 58.7. Okay. Pro athletes, professional athletes, you think, man, they exercise all the time and live clean, stay away from the bad stuff. They should live to be 200. No, 56.7 is their life expectancy. The longest lived peoples in the industrialized nations are the Japanese. They live 84.7, and they have access to glacial milk. They have access to seawater through seaweed and stuff like that. And they also have the glacial milk coming down from the mountains. And so that's why they're the longest lived peoples on earth. China, I like them because they have two cultures, one living in the north, they live on wheat, bread, rye, and oats. And their life in southern China, they live on rice and seaweed and glacial milk and that kind of stuff. Oh, they live to be 76, 5 years longer. And so this is not difficult to understand. When you're taking in all these nutrients, you're going to be doing well, okay? You still have to watch both ways before you cross the street, things like that, okay? I talked to some of our distributors this morning, and they'd been in automobile accidents and so forth, and the doctors told them, you know, you should have been killed, okay? He said, you know, you have all these injuries and everything that would have killed the average person, so you count your blessings, and, you know, I called them and say, how are you doing? Well, I'm counting my blessings because I've been taking these nutrients for over 20 years, and that's what saved my life. Okay. So this all is put into many, many books, Rare Earths and Cures, chapter 10, glacial milk. And then also Hell's Kitchen talks about the transfer between wood and coal as fuel. Okay. There you go. Hell's Kitchen. For thousands and thousands and thousands of years, human beings used wood and coal for fuel, and we would take the ashes out of the stoves and some of our fireplaces and so forth, and put them into our food as a spice, because they couldn't afford the expensive spices like they did in Europe. So they just put wood ashes and coal ashes into the food for a spice. And then also they put the wood ashes and coal ashes into their gardens. And they really didn't know the mechanism, but the plants were sucking up all the minerals that were in the wood ashes and coal ashes. Well, when we went to electricity at 3 o'clock in the afternoon, Monday, September 4th, 1882, we had a problem, because suddenly now, for 18 years, we didn't have any minerals, so to speak. And, you know, unless you lived in the Black community and you're eating a lot of bones, which was the habit of slaves. That's why so many slaves lived longer than the plantation owners. The plantation owners lived to be 50, 60, like the billionaires, okay, 50, 60. Okay, and many slaves like Thomas, okay, and people like that, they lived to be over 100, 120. How'd they do that? Well, that's because they were still using wood ashes in their gardens, and they were eating, you know, bones and things like that, and the liver, which is where animals stored the trace minerals and things like that. And the plantation owners were just eating steaks, okay? And so I put all this together and came up with a program, and by golly, it fits God's words. And so this is all put in the book Hell's Kitchen, goes into our first couple of thousands and thousands and thousands of years where wood and fuel was our fuel. And then we went to electricity, and everything tanked, everything went bad. Well, that's because we didn't have access to the minerals in wood ashes and coal ashes anymore, because there's no ashes when you make electricity, especially when you're using the sun and so forth to generate the electricity. Okay, so this book here shows the two periods of time when we have a long, long period of thousands of years using wood and coal as fuel, and then we switched over to electricity. And electricity, of course, is Hell's Kitchen. Okay, and so I want people to know that. And then we do have another one of my favorite books. During the 6 months we were looking for a new source of minerals, the book, okay, Immortality, okay, and we were finding all these cultures that were living a long time, and they were ones who had access to this rich source of minerals, okay, which came from the glacial milk. And so this is why we have a minimum of 75 minerals in every one of our programs for diabetes, for arthritis, for obesity, for heart disease, for liver disease, for brain diseases, skin diseases, kidney disease, high blood pressure, things going on with your arteries and veins and stuff like that, muscles, you name it, birth defects. They're all caused by nutritional deficiencies. There's no genetic diseases. I'll repeat that. There are no genetic diseases. I'll repeat that. There's no genetic diseases. That freaks out doctors. Their whole training is about genetics, genetics, genetics. No, 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 no. It's all wrong. Okay, there you go. Epigenetics. And so I'm considered one of the founding fathers of the science of epigenetics, the death of the genetic through disease. You might hold that up another couple of inches. There you go. That's me with in 1976, when I found the first non-human cases of cystic fibrosis, thought to be one of the most terrible birth defects in humans. And I found a monkey that had died at Yerkes Primate Center, where I was working as a pathologist, okay, at Emory University in Atlanta, Georgia. And to make a long story short, they fired me when I said cystic fibrosis was not a genetic disease like they had thought for forever. Okay, it was really just a simple nutritional deficiency, and I could prevent it and reverse it. And they fired me. And that's when I went to make a short version of the story. I went back to school and became a physician, because I knew if I was going to be able to treat people, I had to have some letters behind my name, so they weren't saying, well, you're a veterinarian, you can't be treating humans. Okay. And so in the beginning, when I'm still in school, in veterinary school, that's what I was telling people, well, I'll treat you like a dog, but you're going to get better, because I want them to know that I was a veterinarian, that I wasn't pretending to be a doctor yet. Well, now I are one, as they say. And when you look at the world, the people who have access to this glacial milk now, the Hunzes, okay, their life expectancy is 120. Many live to be 130, 140, 150. And this isn't making stuff up. This is factual. And you'd think everybody on earth would want to go to Hunza, because that's where people live 30, 40, 50, 60 years longer than any place else. Okay. And so why is that? Well, it's, what should I say? It's a third world culture. They don't have electricity. They don't have medical doctors. But they do have access to the nutrients that are necessary to provide everything your body needs to maintain its health and function for over 120 years. This is a blessing to know this information. And this is what makes us different from any other nutritional supplement company out there. Every other company they're looking at maybe one mineral like magnesium, one of the biggest producers of an energy drink. They're giving the energy to the athletes from sugar and also from let's see here, sugar and caffeine. Our sports drink, we have 75 minerals in it, plus 25 vitamins, amino acids. Red Bull only has one mineral, magnesium, and I think it's 4 times the amount of sugar that we have and 4 times the amount of caffeine that we have, and they have 2 or 3 vitamins in it and only 1 mineral. Okay, so that's the difference between them and us. Okay, so rare earths have been cures. Everybody should have at least one of these books in their family. You buy 10 of them, you get a nice discount, so you can put them into your longevity business. Rare earths and cures in Hell's Kitchen. It's all in your head. Okay, thank you. It's all in your head. This goes into 37 different diseases that people get when they get osteoporosis of the skull, squeezing the cranial nerves, okay, and squeezing the spinal cord. And we have a CD that goes along with it. It's a set, the CD, thank you, CD in the book. Each chapter covers one of the cranial nerves. Each chapter goes into all the diseases that are caused by the skull squeezing that cranial nerve. It's a very interesting prospect. And then, of course, the Wallach Revolution, 75 years, the Wallach Revolutions, 75 years, okay, of betrayal, of finding causes and treatments and reversals of disease. I can't use the C word. Can't use the C word. So, okay, It's one of those things where we have the ability to prevent diseases and to give the body what it needs so the body can heal itself. Okay, this is unimpeachable. It goes back to biblical days. And when we figured out what it was the glacial milk that was doing it. That's why we went that direction instead of like everybody else. We were looking to find a source of nutrients like everybody else, but then we found, no, the ones that were doing the glacial milk were doing 75 times better, because Red Bull only has one mineral. Okay, and so the Wallach revolution, I'm actually getting lawyers calling me saying, I need more information on this. Do you have more references? So we introduce them to, of course, It's On Your Head. We introduce them to Hell's Kitchen. We introduce them to Rare Earths and Cures. We introduce them to the book Epigenetics and so on. And we have many more things coming out here pretty soon. I'm not going to tell you yet, but we do have that. And of course, a great CD comes from one of my lectures, okay, on the epigenetics, okay. And so thank you, okay. Praise the Lord and pass the 90. We get that from the military. I retired as lieutenant colonel in the Air Force. So praise the Lord and pass ammunition. In this case, it's praise the Lord and pass the 90. And you will benefit and you will defeat the devil. Okay, is that how I say? You will defeat you have the capacity to defeat the devil. You didn't have that before you had information. Information is power. And the good Lord gave us this information. So we're going to take it and put it to work in his name. Amen. Okay, over to you, Rebecca.
All right. Thank you so much for that, Dr. Wallach. And we have a lot of people out on YouTube that are wanting to celebrate you, Dr. Wallach. They wish that somebody would create a documentary about Doc's life and achievements, because he deserves to be celebrated and the world deserves to know him. And folks, there is actually a documentary. So if you are interested in seeing that documentary, it's called The Audacity of Health. Just go ahead and Google that and you will find Dr. Wallach's documentary. It is an amazing story, folks. What this man has done, what he has gone through to be able to share this information with us each and every day and around the world. And folks, to get this around the world, it's going to take us as individuals sharing it with those that we know. Sharing it, whether it's sharing it just on one-to-one, an individual, or sharing it on social media where you're reaching many people at the same time. If you're a podcaster and you would like to host Dr. Wallach on your podcast, please make sure that you reach out to Doc, D-O-C, at drjwallach.com, and we will contact you and get you on the schedule. There's a lot of room to grow, Dr. Wallach, and empowering is power. Yes.
One thing I do want to say, when people get engaged with us and begin to share the story, we will pay them. We will pay them every time they get somebody involved and a product transfers hand from one person to the next, okay? We will pay them for that, okay? It's not like we're just asking them to do it. If it was just God's grace, that would be more than enough. Okay, but on top of God's grace, we're going to pay them so they can afford to buy food.
Absolutely, and afford to be able to supply their own supplementation for themselves and their family. So there is a business associated with this program that, you refer people to different foods that you like, different restaurants, different movies. Do they ever send you a thank you check? No, but we here at Longevity, which we're independent associates, we get a 1099. We are in business for ourselves, but we are not by ourselves. And that's something that I absolutely love, Dr. Wallach, because I've been in business by myself before. I was by myself. But here I am not. We are surrounded by a great community that lifts each other up, supports each other. So if you are interested in becoming a longevity associate, make sure that you get back with the person that shared this program with you. If there is nobody to thank, go to dailywithdoc.com, use that, contact us and say, hey, I want a business too. Or we even have enrollment packages listed there on dailywithdoc.com. Click on store and then under the subcategory enrollment packages so that you can get started. And then one of our certified holistic health coaches will get back with you and welcome you and make sure that you know that you are part of a very supportive community where we figure out what are your goals and help you reach those goals. So Dr. Wallach, I love our family. I absolutely love our family and all the people that are involved in it. It is because of this family that, you know, I wake up every day knowing that I've done good yesterday and the day before, and today's another day to help somebody else. And that's what this program is all about. So let's go ahead and get to some questions, but I wanted to read one more shout out here.
Okay.
Let's see, did it get put over here? Let me go ahead and go to the first hand while I relocate that, Dr. Wallach. So
Okay.
Jane, go ahead and unmute yourself and welcome to Daily with Doc.
Thank you very much. Unfortunately for me, but I had a lumpectomy. I've had a removal of whatever it was. It was a minor cancer on my left breast, and it's all gone. It was like an hour operation, and they're now saying I have to have radiation and pills, which are whatever poisons they are. And I'm wondering what vitamins you recommend. Do you think, I guess I have to take things after it, although the cancer is completely gone. I'm taking most of your vitamins. That they kept wanting me to stop before I had the operation, and I didn't. Taking the vitamins.
Well, you have to appreciate when they do surgery and they take out a lump, they didn't get to the basic root cause of the problem. Okay, it's kind of like removing a splinter from your foot. Okay, were you running around barefoot in a lumber yard? You shouldn't be running around barefoot in a lumber yard. That's why they wear boots, okay, to prevent splinters in your foot. Okay, the same thing when you have a lump removed from your breast. That's not the end of that story. You have to deal with, okay, what caused that? We don't want that to happen again, or we don't want any little residuals they couldn't see with the naked eye in your breast, your liver, your lungs, or wherever it might be. Going to wind up killing you 6 months later or 2 years later. Okay, so it's more than just removing a lump. All right, and so it's one of those things where you do have to jump in there and say, okay, I'm going to listen to the recommendations, but at the same time, I'm going to do what I can do. I'm going to do based on the information the good Lord has given us. Okay, how much you weigh and how old are you?
I weigh about 113 and I'm 81.
Okay, all right, and so basically you need to get rid of all the bad stuff. No bad foods, no fried foods, no processed meats, no wheat, bran, around oats. There are no such things as gluten-free oats. The gluten in oats is called gliadin, but it's still gluten. Absolutely no buckwheat. There's no gluten in buckwheat, but buckwheat has phagopyrines in it, which is 10 times worse than buckwheat. So no buckwheat. And then absolutely no sugar, no carbonated drinks. Even the diet drinks got to go, and carbonated water got to go, because carbonation itself neutralizes stomach acid, so you cannot efficiently absorb nutrients, particularly minerals, or digest food. Okay, so that's where you start. And then at 113 pounds, I want you to have one healthy brain and heart pack per month. That's our big hammer. It has 215 nutrients in it, including the basic 90. Okay, so one healthy brain and heart pack per month. Take a half a dose of everything in that pack twice a day, half a dose of breakfast, half a dose of dinner time. I also want you to get, because of your diagnoses, I want you to get 2 bottles a month of our MSM. So you can take 3 at breakfast, 3 at lunch, 3 at dinner time. This can support your immune system by rebuilding your bone marrow, which is where your white blood cells and antibodies come from, okay, to go kill and eat cancer cells that you can't see, or the doctors can't see, because there's only one cancer cell running around out there. It's too small for them to see, okay? And then you also need to get our, let's see here. I would use a Rebound sports drink. It's your body weight. I weigh 142 and I take 2 doses a day of Rebound. You can start out with a half a dose of Rebound at breakfast, half a dose of Rebound at lunchtime. And if you're going to use the cans, pop the tops on them at night before you go to bed, put them in the refrigerator, because the carbonation in the cans can give you some problems of absorption. But the powder and the, see here, the powder.
The sticks.
The sticks, yeah, the sticks, that's the word I was looking for, thank you. The powder and the sticks don't have a problem, okay? And they don't have all the sugar and carbonation and stuff like that that the cans have. Okay, then let's see here. We do want you to have the immune stuff, okay, for your immune system, all right? Which I get an extra bottle of selenium, so you could take 3 selenium twice a day, okay, 3 selenium twice a day. There's a bottle of selenium in the Healthy Brain and Heart Pack, but I want you to double that. So you need to get another bottle of selenium. So you can take 3 twice a day of our selenium, not just off the shelf, but our selenium, because we have these 5 cofactors to make it much more effective. And then I would also have you take for your immune system, I would use what hyperimmune products do you like, Rebecca?
Dr. Wallach, I really like the Fucoid Z, the Z radical, and also the oxybody when we're dealing with a situation like this. And of course, the hyperimmune, the egg, the I-26 hyperimmune egg is really good as well.
So there's choices there.
There's lots of choices.
Yeah, I take all of them. I know you take all of them. So it's one of those things where I'm taking probably by weight as much supplements as I am food, okay? Because I want to live to be 120 like the Hunses, or maybe longer than that, okay? It's one of those things where the good Lord said I can live to be 120, and so I'm going to take his advice and get there, because I want to help as many people as I can for another 60 years. This is not difficult, okay? It's just a matter of making a priority instead of making, the cola is your priority, or pancakes made from buckwheat your priority, or whatever it is. You got to make sure that the bad stuff goes away, because they take hours and days and weeks and years off your life when you eat the bad stuff and drink the bad stuff, okay? So do keep us informed, keep us up to date, and we'll walk through this with you.
Thank you very much.
All right, Jane, thank you. And Dr. Wallach, Ray has a really good question. I was talking to Ray just before the program. So Ray, go ahead and unmute yourself. Come on live with me here and ask Dr. Wallach your question about cholesterol.
Hello, Dr. Wallach.
Hi.
Cholesterol. Went in for my blood work last month and got my results back, and my doctor gave me a call and he wants to see me tomorrow because my cholesterol is high. And I kind of went back and looked at all my blood tests for the last 3 years. I'd have 2 a year. And sometimes the HDL would be high, sometimes the triglycerides would be high, then the other time they'd be low, and the HDL would be high. The total cholesterol was always lower than like the reference range they wanted to be in. This time, and then just 9 months ago, my last blood test, all of them were good, pretty low. 9 months later, I take them, and now my total cholesterol is considered high. And I think that's why he called me in, because all the other times they never called me in because the total wasn't over the limit. And I've listened to you for a long, long time. And from what I get, it's like cholesterol doesn't matter. So I just want to go in, and I got to talk to him tomorrow. And I don't want to get on any kind of medications or anything like that you don't recommend, of course, like the statins.
What is that number, Ray? What is that number that they're saying is high?
My total cholesterol came out to 215, and the reference is like they want you 200 or lower. And then like my non-HDL was 173. They want lower than 130. And then the LDL was at 147. It looks like they want you under 100. And it's a pretty big spike from 9 months ago,
Mhm.
where I
Okay,
was
so you're,
under all the limits 9 months ago.
okay, so realistically, you're 15 points over their high. And of course, their high is 200 and something, right?
200 and I'm at 215.
Yeah, 215. Okay. And so I wouldn't get too excited about that. Okay. Unless you're driving, that's your speed. You're speeding in the car. Okay. But 215 just means you're sexy. Now, are you coloring your hair or is that your natural hair color?
That's natural.
Okay.
I just turned
Does your
58
doctor have,
last week.
does your doctor have white, gray, or silver hair?
I would say he does, but he's up there, you know. He's probably your age.
Okay. Well, gray hair has nothing to do with age. Gray hair is a nutritional deficiency. Okay.
That's what
And
I've
so,
heard. Yeah.
yeah, gray hair is a nutritional deficiency. And it's one of those things where other things happen when you get that same deficiency. You get arthritis and you get stuff going on in the walls of your arteries and veins and things, and your skin it gets all wrinkledy and everything like that. And so you want to look at that doctor and, you know, praise the doctor by just looking at him. Does he have a lot of wrinkles on his face? Does he have a lot of wrinkles in his hands and arms? He may be covering it up with gloves and white coat, you know, who knows, and a mask. Okay, you want to look at him. But I would say I want to you know, give me a chance here. If insurance is going to pay for your visit, go ahead and take the visit. He'll like it because it, you know, helps him pay the tuition for his kids' college. Okay, kind of thing. And so, but 15 isn't too exciting. Okay, 150 would be something of concern, but 15's not a concern because it could, you know, it's going to do this. It's not going to just stay down here. It's going to be all over the place, depending on what you ate last night, kind of thing. Okay. And so, anyway, cholesterol makes up 25% of your brain weight, makes up 25% of your spinal cord weight. It's the white matter, it's the myelin of your central nervous system. Okay. And also it makes up 95% of testosterone. You do not want to reduce cholesterol because there won't be anybody home anymore if you give up cholesterol, okay? Because then you won't have any testosterone. And then you start losing the white matter in your brain and you start getting Alzheimer's disease, okay? You start getting Lou Gehrig's disease, start getting all these diseases, which are just cholesterol deficiencies, okay? And so be careful, okay? Again, the insurance is paying for it. Hey, go in there and let them test you and all this kind of stuff and find out if there's anything else going on. But we do have, of course, our programs for this. You want to be taking the 90 essential nutrients, the Healthy Brain and Heart Pack. What do you weigh? How much do you weigh?
202.
202. Okay, that's easy. So you want to be taking 2 Healthy Brain and Heart Packs per month, a full dose of everything twice a day. Full dose of breakfast, full dose of dinner time. There's 215 nutrients in the Healthy Brain and Heart Pack. The 90 is in there. Okay. Then you also want to make sure you're getting the 2 bottles of MSM per month. So you take 3 at breakfast, 3 at lunch, 3 at dinner time. They're going to support and promote maintenance repair of cartilage, ligaments, tendons, connective tissue, discs between the vertebrae, bone rakes, bone itself. You also want to take the collagen peptides, take a scoop of that with your morning drink, scoop of that with evening drink. There's collagen from 4 different species of animals. Okay. And then let's see here. You also want to take the Synaptive, take 2 bottles a month of the Synaptive. They're small bottles. You want to take 3 of those twice a day. I do that. Take 3 of the Synaptive twice a day. It helps your brain function properly and use the cholesterol properly. Okay. And that's kind of for the heart. I would go, do you have any high blood pressure or diabetes?
I do. No diabetes problems. Blood sugars all seem to be fine. Years and years ago, my other doctor, you know, he was in his 90s. He wanted to put me on metoprolol, and I never did. And then probably 10 or 15 years later, you know, he passed away in his 90s. Got another doctor, and it was on 25 milligrams of metoprolol. So I take that, and then I had some bladder cancer in 2017, very superficial. So they went in, removed that, and when I was in the hospital, they put me on amlodipine 5 milligram. And I'm still on both of those today. And I really would like to wean. I tried to wean off the toprol. It wasn't working out very well. So I'm trying to wean off the amlodipine now. It seems to be much better. You know, they do two
Okay.
different things, and they're two different
Yeah,
bad
exactly.
things. You know,
Well,
that's a whole
basically,
nother topic I wanted to talk about, maybe for
let me,
another show.
let me interrupt here. Let me interrupt here because we're short on time. Let me interrupt. You also want to throw in the Ultimate Daily Classic tablets. Get 2 bottles a month. The Ultimate Daily Classic tablets. Take 3 at breakfast, 3 at dinner time, and that's going to help with blood flow through blocked arteries and blood pressure and all that kind of stuff in the brain and the heart and the liver and every place else. Okay, so that's where I would go with all this. And again, if insurance is paying for it, go see the doctor and get an update and everything like that, and then give us a call in a couple of weeks. But these are things that are amenable to getting rid of these sort of borderline problems you have with getting rid of the bad foods and taking the essential nutrients in optimal amounts. And then give us a call every couple of weeks, and we'll walk you through this and let us know the results of the physical. Okay.
Why would cholesterol spike so much in just 9 months? What would cause that?
Well, it depends on what you're eating. Okay, if you've been eating gluten, okay, if you've been eating, lots of wheat bran oats and pancakes and waffles and buckwheat and spaghetti and that kind of stuff, that's where the problems come in. You can't be having spaghetti for lunch every day. You can't be having pancakes and waffles for breakfast. You cannot be having.
I don't even buy bread anymore.
Okay,
just
good.
been done with it
You
for a
have
while.
hamburger buns.
Yeah,
hamburger
every
buns.
now and then. Yep, you got to get it somewhere. I try to go sourdough when I can. They say it might be a little better, but I know it's all bad.
No, sourdough's still got gluten in it.
Yep.
No. And so really what you want to do is switch over totally to rice. Okay, eat like an Asian. I always tell people eat like an Asian. And that's where you want to get the Wallach Revolution and get the book Epigenetics, and it guides you how to create a very pleasant diet and eating habits and getting all your numbers down to the normal range without pharmaceuticals. Okay, that's where epigenetics comes. Okay,
very good.
And sugar contributes to cholesterol.
Oh yeah,
too.
sugar contributes. Yeah, absolutely, sugar contributes to that. But yeah, Dr. Wallach's cooking without the bad foods, that helps because that's the background. Okay, is all these diets. We have over 300 different 300 pages of healthy gluten-free recipes. Okay, and of course we also have the ability for you to see all the bad condiments and that kind of stuff. It's all in there. So Dr. Wallach's Cooking Without the Bad Foods. Every family should have at least 1 or 2 of those books, and read a chapter from it in a month. Okay.
Sugars from natural fruit bad? Should I stay away from that?
Well, it covers natural foods as well as commercial foods. Okay. This covers
a lot of berries.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah. Because you can get gluten, in wild grains. You get sugar in wild fruit.
Yeah.
Okay. And so it doesn't matter the source. You're talking about a nutritional chemical, okay, that over time causes damage to your tissues and your organs and your systems and shortens your life. And so it's worth knowing the information. That way you can make a legitimate choice. Okay, am I willing to give up 20 years of my life because I can't give up buckwheat pancakes for breakfast? That's your choice. But you want to do it when you have knowledge. If you want to gain that 20 years of life, give up the buckwheat pancakes for breakfast and no spaghetti every afternoon for lunch and that kind of stuff. You got to really, really, really pay attention to those details because you have to appreciate doctors don't get taught these things. Okay. And that's why the whole idea of the rare earths book was so important, because it goes into, what are the sources of the land flowing with milk and honey? Well, it's glaciers, it's glacial milk. It's not cow's milk. It's not goat's milk. Okay, and doctor, what should I say? For thousands and thousands of years, everybody's been running on the concept that they were talking about cow's milk that was blessed by God. No, it's glacial milk blessed by God. Okay. All right.
Very good.
Okay.
All
Let's
right.
hear from you.
Thank you very
Thank
much.
you, Ray. And please come back. I know you have some more questions that we want to focus and be more specific on those as well.
Absolutely. Yeah, I don't want to take up the
Thanks,
whole
Ray.
show. Sorry.
No
No
problem.
worries. Information is power, folks. And I hope that you are realizing the information that you're getting today, when you put it into action, can do some amazing benefits within your life, within your body. So Dr. Wallach, we have two more questions that we want to get through before you have to go. So
Yes.
out on YouTube, Paul has a question in regards to one of his friends, Johnny, who's having a hard time controlling urination. He is getting up 2 to 3 times per night to pee. He's 5'4", 155 pounds, 43 years old. So what would you recommend for somebody that has frequent urination? And this is like in a horizontal position where you're supposed to be asleep, relaxing, and then all of a sudden it's like, oh, I got the urge, I gotta go. So what would you recommend, Dr. Wallach?
Well, I bet a lot of money that this guy's got osteoporosis of the skull, squeezing the spinal cord, and the spinal cord is telling his urinary bladder to urinate. It doesn't matter if it's during the day or during the night, but when you get into a certain position, okay, that skull puts more pressure on the spinal cord, and then the spinal cord tells the urinary bladder to urinate. So when people get urination 3 to 5 times during the day and 3 to 5 times at night, they really have osteoporosis of the skull. And this is where, it's one of the reasons, you know, when I was doing all these autopsies, I'm finding that the doctors missed some of these diseases they should have been treating, which were very obvious at autopsy, okay, which were part of the cause of death, but the doctors were missing it by a million miles because they were treating the symptoms, okay? And so polyurea, whether it's daytime or nighttime or both, almost always has to do with osteoporosis of the skull, squeezing the spinal cord. And there's 57 different diseases, okay, 37 different diseases that occur when the skull squeezes the spinal cord. And also it squeezes the skull squeezes the 12 pairs of cranial nerves that come out of the skull and do things to the face and upper body and so forth, and the heart rates and so forth. And when you have problems, you know, like atrial fibrillation, doctors want you to believe that atrial fibrillation is due to a heart problem. No, it's due to the skull squeezing the 10th cranial nerve. Is that right? Yeah, the vagus nerve, and that's causing the heart to beat irregularly. And so they want to do an ablation. They want to anesthetize you, cut you open, take your heart out, put hot branding irons on your heart and trying to find the places making your heart run crazy. But it's really the skull squeezing the 10th cranial nerve, okay? And I have literally at this point, hundreds and hundreds, maybe even thousands that I haven't heard about, but at least hundreds and hundreds of people who had this problem with the heart rate, okay? And it's one of those things where no matter what you call it, when you get rapid heart rate, irregular heart rate, slow heart rate, any of these changes in the heart, it's caused by osteoporosis of the skull squeezing that 10th cranial nerve, the vagus nerve, okay? And this is easily resolved without massive life-threatening surgery.
Absolutely. Absolutely, Dr. Wallach. And think about it. So folks, when you're laying down, you're laying flat, you know, the vertebrae is at a certain angle. You roll to one side, it's going to a certain angle throughout, and the other side, another certain
Head
angle.
on a pillow puts a kink in your neck.
Yep, depending on how fluffy you like your pillow. So there's a lot of factors that play into there with Dr. Wallach's theory of the frequent urination at night. So let's go to YouTube, and Angel says, good morning. Just want to say thank you, Dr. Wallach. Thank you to the Critical Health team, and thank you, AJ. Excited to work with you and continue to lead a healthier life. Now let's go to next hand that is up, Dr. Wallach. And hello, David. Welcome to Daily with Doc. Go ahead and unmute yourself, please.
Hi, Doc. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you, thank you. How can we help you today?
I just found out my sister-in-law has some pretty serious health issues that she wasn't telling anyone about because she didn't want anyone to worry. She's 60 years old. She's 5'8", 180 pounds. I don't know why, but her doctors had her on antibiotics for 7 years. She developed something that they call COVID pneumonia. She wears an oxygen mask for 4 hours a day, or the insurance company won't cover the equipment. She pays $300 a month for that. She carries an oxygen tank around. She has 8 doctors. She's on 8 medications, and one of them is statin drug. So I'm very worried about her. She had to be on an oxygen tank for several months, but she's off of it now, but she carries it around as a precaution. I just think her immune system was destroyed by those antibiotics. And
Well, that's possible, but also, again, when you get osteoporosis of the skull, which wouldn't be unusual in a woman who's 60 years old, osteoporosis of the skull, squeezing the, let's see here, I'd go with the 8th cranial nerve, okay, or the 10th cranial nerve, either one of those. And there's branches that go to the diaphragm, okay, of those nerves, and they cause all kinds of problems. And of course, if she's missing certain nutrients, like the essential fatty acids, okay, that can cause problems. If she's missing certain nutrients, it can cause problems with the cartilage in her trachea and her bronchi, okay. And so we need a little more information. It wouldn't hurt for her to have a hair analysis so he knows what's going on. Is she absorbing? Is she eating gluten? Is she
she's
having
eating.
buckwheat?
I know
If she's eating gluten, she's eating badly. Yeah, well, this is probably the core of her problem. Got to get rid of the gluten. No bad foods, no fried foods, no processed meats, no oils, no glutens, no wheat, barley, round oats, no sugar, no carbonated drinks, no buckwheat. And then at 180 pounds, I want her to have 2 healthy brain and heart packs a month, 2 healthy brain and heart packs a month, the full dose, everything twice a day. I want her to have 2 bottles a month of the MSM, so I can take 3 at breakfast, 3 at lunch, 3 at dinner time, to rebuild cartilage, ligaments, tendons, connective tissue, discs between a vertebrae, bone, makes bone cell. I want her to have the collagen peptides, a scoop of that with her morning drink, with the evening drink. I want her to have the synaptive. She could take 2 doses a day of the synaptive to help the brain function properly and the spinal cord function properly, okay? And then we also want her to take the Ultimate Daily Classic tablets, take 3 of those twice a day. It's 2 bottles a month, so she can support healthy blood pressure and blood flow into the lungs, into the brain, into the heart. And that's going to get us going in the right direction. Also, I want her to have oxybody. I take an ounce of oxybody twice a day just to jump up the oxygen levels in my blood, okay? Oxybody is a liquid. It tastes very nice. It's an oxygenated liquid, okay? What should I say? You'll get an oxygen jolt within 5 minutes after you drink it, okay? I take that about 5 or 10 minutes before breakfast and 5 or 10 minutes before dinner time. And I wouldn't take it before bedtime. It might keep her up, okay, because of all the oxygen. But so that's another thing they can do. And that's going to save a lot of money. It's a lot cheaper to buy a couple of quarts of this oxybody than it is to spend, $300 a month for an oxygen tank and all that kind of stuff. All
If
right.
she
So
gets
let's
on
go.
board with her diet and this program, how fast do you think she could turn this around?
Well, she should start seeing results in 3 days just from the oxybody. She's going to see some improvement, okay, from the oxybody. In 2 weeks, because if she's giving up the bad foods, tissues repair very quickly. I mean, we have people who've been having diseases, like diabetes and high blood pressure and all kinds of stuff for 25 years. We get them on these programs, and in 3 days' time, their high blood pressure and their diabetes goes away. Okay, after 25 years of suffering and taking injections every day, 3 times a day, and this and that. And of course, the doctors were happy. Well, doctors are unhappy when you don't come back anymore because you've healed yourself. Okay, this is why we have 23 best-selling books. We're working on a couple of more right now. We cover a lot of territory. Some of them, like Dead Doctors Don't Lie, the CDs are in 9 languages. Okay, all over the world, we've sold over 600 million copies of them.
Dr. Wallach,
Yes.
I've got to get you out of here. You're having way too much fun. We're losing
Okay.
track of time. So thank you so much, Dr. Wallach, for joining
Thank
us.
you,
And
Dr.
we will see
Wallach.
you tomorrow.
Thank you.
So
Okay.
thank you. And David, thank you for a great question. We will definitely keep your sister in our thoughts. And yeah, so I'm trying to, okay, help me out here, AJ. So we're breaking in the new co-host who's going to be helping us with all the technical stuff. And that is not what we're supposed to be seeing. Go ahead, and if I could get my co-host on with me. I saw that face, AJ. I just want to say thank you, everybody, for joining us here on Daily with Doc. Again, my name is Rebecca Dukes, and as the kind of the captain of this crew and also student services advisor for the Institute of Holistic Health, where we do have a certified holistic health coach course that is available to the public, not just those that are involved with longevity, but to anybody and everybody who has an interest in wanting to know more about what they can do to help themselves on a more holistic level. We don't look at the food that you just look at the food that you put in your mouth, but we look at the whole entire body. We look at the 4 areas of health, how they're affected by nutritional deficiencies. And then we also look at the solutions to help with those 4 areas of health, and actually the 8 areas of health, because we go deeper into mind, body, and soul as well. You can get more information about our Certified Holistic Health Coach course at coachwithbecca.com. If you are here because somebody invited you here, get back with them and say, hey, what do you know about this coaching program? I want more information. And there is a payment plan that is available for that as well. So we are working on making things accessible and reachable and attainable for everybody. Because nutrition is not just something that should be important to a certain demographic. Because what we put in our mouth, what's in our soils, that affects everybody. And as humankind, we look out for each other. So folks, thank you again for being here with us on Daily with Doc. Thank you, Marilyn, for all of the information that you were transcribing and putting into the chat. Thank you, Sherry, for helping us get everybody in a quick, timely manner, watching those cameras, making sure that if there's any distractions, those cameras get turned off so that we aren't distracted and we can focus on the message. And thank you, Ruth Ellen, for being a fabulous trainer of Sportus from YouTube. AJ, our co-host who is now on camera with us, who is going to be helping with the technical stuff and making sure that we get the stream going and in the right place. Because folks, we use people's talents and skills. If you have talents and skills that you would like to use for a greater purpose, make sure that you contact us and let us know, hey, I've got these skills. What can I do to help spread the message? If you are already associated with somebody within longevity, already on the products, make sure that you get back with your coach or the person who has enrolled or sponsored you and let them know that you want to be involved in the community as well. So we will see you next time, which whatever day you're watching this on, if you want to join us live Monday through Friday, 12 to 12:50, you are more than welcome to do so. Go to dailywithdoczoom.com. And again, if you are interested in Dr. Wallach's books, you can go to www.drjwallach.com. The products, if you're not working with somebody, Go to dailywithdoc.com, use that store, and you will find everything broken down into categories, including those enrollment packages that allow you to affordably get started in your very own business and join this community as a business builder, someone who wants to spread the message and get a thank you check. Whether you want a big thank you check, small thank you check, it doesn't matter, folks. It's a message that's worth hearing and letting other people hear as well. Until next time, bye for now.
Recording stop.